Hey there, my name is Nabil Sharif, and you're listening to Filmatic. Today I'm joined by 5 people, 5 colleagues, 5 peers of cinema, as I may say. First up, we have Manny Ray.
Hi, how are you?
Doing well, Manny. It's good to hear from you. I'm glad you came back for another episode. Yeah.
Of course, I'm always glad to be here. Thank you for having me.
Yeah, just real quick, what were your thoughts on the last episode? Do you think it came out okay?
I feel like it was definitely well composed, a tight little project you had there, so I'm looking forward to something else like this today.
Thank you. Moving on quickly, Nick Gonzalez joins us.
What's up? How's it going?
It's going pretty well. I'm glad we were able to situate your microphone situation.
Yeah, I apologize about that.
Good. It's okay. We're gonna make it work. Ben Casey, birthday boy Ben Casey is here.
Woohoo!
How you feeling, Ben?
I'm feeling great, Nabil.
How does it feel to be 19?
Feels pretty good. Not that different from 18, but, I'm living life. It's another year. I'm enjoying myself.
Okay. And we've been waiting for this one for a while. He's finally here, all the way from the land down under. It's Justin Fischler.
Hey, how's it going, Nabil? Everybody else on the call? I have been waiting for this for a very long time, and I'm very excited to get into it.
Yes, sir. It's good to hear from you. I'm gonna apologize. I'm gonna apologize in advance for your microphone quality, but it's okay.
Bad?
No, I mean I'm sure it's okay. I'm just in case it comes out weird, given your
It's
internet
fine.
connection.
It's whatever. It's fine.
Yeah, shut up. I'm talking. Let's see.
Oh my god.
Oh yes, Darian Nigro is here. Darian Nigro.
Hello, Nabil. I appreciate you giving me a position on the podcast.
Of course.
Platform?
If you will.
Yes, we're gonna get to that.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned for that. Well, guys, this is it. We're doing the Filmatic podcast. This is the most people we've ever had on one episode. So
Historical.
this whole pandemic situation, we're here to provide content for the peoples, and we're gonna do it. Our newcomers. Last time when we had our first quarantine freestyle, we talked about some of our favorite movies of 2019, and
Of course.
I figured, good way to just kick it off is just talk about a movie you saw in 2019 that you really liked, and we could just go from there. How about Darian? What's a movie you saw in 2019 that you liked?
2019, I didn't see a lot of new releases, in all honesty. Didn't
Fair
go to
enough.
the theater too much, except for, a few, some Marvel movies, because you got to go out and see those sometimes, but nothing too big on that front. Not something I would call my favorite movie.
Right.
I did see, obviously I watched a lot of movies. They just didn't come out in 2019, but
Okay.
did a couple rewatches. Baby Driver and La La Land hadn't seen for a year or two. Great rewatches always. Sorry to bother you. I've seen that one about 6 times now. So,
Yeah.
Have you seen that, Nabil?
I have seen that. It's
pretty solid movie.
It's pretty solid. It's pretty wacky. It's not what you expect going in. It's one of
Yeah,
those
it's
movies.
always fun. It's always fun.
It's always fun to go into a movie, especially when the marketing portrays it one way, and then for it to turn so masterfully.
Yeah, it's really interesting. I never even saw a trailer or an advertisement for the movie. I was just kind of drug out there by Evan because we had Movie Pass at the time. God, rip Movie Pass.
I miss Movie Pass.
Tribute to Movie Pass. But I just had no idea what to expect. But there is such an insane amount of just really interesting, stylistic choices, in my opinion, that make it interesting to, not watch just necessarily for the story, which is also great, but
Right.
just noticing things, in different scenes that you didn't notice prior. There's a lot of different little cool choices that were made that I really appreciate.
And of course, the great up and coming Lakeith Stanfield makes his debut as a leading role. He's such a great actor. I mean,
We love it.
we love Lakeith. We talked about that a little last time.
Might I bring something up? So I was thinking about similar actors to Lakeith that are they can slide into any role as a chameleon. I want to give a little shout out to Domhnall Gleeson. You guys might know him as Hux, whatever the fuck his name was.
Hux.
He was also in Ex Machina. He was one of the brothers in Harry Potter. He can also pull off a lot of different... Peter Rabbit, yes, I saw that. That was great.
Yeah.
Waiting for part 2.
But yes, Domhnall Gleeson is very good. The son of Brendan Gleeson, obviously.
Yes.
Another.
Yes.
Also, he got similar when you say the chameleon role, because Brendan Gleeson
Mhm.
has also been in a lot. You know, obviously Harry Potter is the biggest
Mhm.
one that people know. But In Bruges is good.
Mhm.
You know, and there are some other ones. But yeah, very good. Father-son duo. And speaking of, Ex Machina, another big thing we talk about on this podcast, the A24 movies, Justin, I don't know if you and I have talked about this. Are you a big A24 guy, or?
I'll be honest, before I was watching Uncut Gems, no, first of all, let me start off by saying I had no idea what A24 was until I was listening to the Filmatic. I think it was the
Wow.
Lighthouse Filmatic,
No,
and you and
dude.
Evan were talking about
This podcast is a
A24, right?
purpose.
Yes.
Anyway, I didn't know what it was, had never heard of it, and to be honest, I still haven't looked at a list of what films they're responsible for.
Have you seen Hereditary?
I have not, but the
Mid-90s.
soundtrack is awesome.
Hereditary was pretty solid. I really liked that movie. I haven't seen too many of their other films yet. I need
They
to
did Swiss Army
dive
Man.
deeper in.
Incredible.
Yeah, A24 actually, they go back a while, and it's just that I feel like until recently they haven't been recognized as this major player. In the past they've just kind of been under the books, sort of, in the sense that
Right.
it wasn't really a.
I definitely think
household
Moonlight
name.
was their biggest highlight, especially for winning the movie of the year. So they just have a great breadth of different stories that they can tell.
And
Right.
I think this brings us right into something I took note of. So basically, a few hours ago, I went on Instagram Live, and I took some questions for the podcast. Some questions and topics that people had. One that came up was a question or a proposition to us to talk about Moonlight versus La La Land. For those who don't know, the Oscar first went to La La Land, but then was quickly corrected as a mistake and was given to Moonlight. I believe that was 2018.
2016, Nabil.
Excuse me, my bad.
2018.
Sorry
2018.
about
No, 2017.
Oh,
2017.
you're both wrong. Split the
2017.
All right. Well,
Anyway,
you know what?
Moonlight versus.
We should do it. We should do like a aye or nay kind of thing. Moonlight, all for Moonlight. Aye.
Aye, all for La La Land.
Aye.
I mean, how can you have so many people on one podcast? And go ahead.
I'm refraining from answering just because I haven't seen Moonlight, and I'm heavily biased towards La La Land anyways, so.
Interesting.
Listen,
Why would you
I
say
haven't
that?
seen Moonlight.
I didn't
haven't
vote
seen
on either.
Moonlight, all right?
Because I haven't
All
seen
right,
La La
Justin,
Land.
you want to talk over me?
Oh, sorry, Ben. It's my lag from being in New Zealand. I didn't actually. It sounded like you'd finished talking, and then you kept talking after I had begun. It's a whole ordeal that I'm worried might actually interfere with the podcast.
I think it is right
Yeah,
now.
it
but,
might, but we're gonna work our
I
way
haven't
through
seen
it.
Moonlight,
Hopefully,
alright?
you can stay on.
But I have seen La La
Okay,
Land.
so I guess a lot of people
And
haven't
that
seen.
movie.
Some people haven't seen Moonlight. Some people haven't seen La La Land. Personally, having seen both, I'm just going to go ahead and say Moonlight by far.
Well,
All
Moonlight
right,
is just-
all right.
I don't know
whoa,
about by
whoa, whoa,
far.
whoa. Listen,
Okay,
That's a
here
little
we go.
strong.
Go ahead.
La La Land has it all. All right.
Does it?
You want romance? You got romance. You
Yeah,
want
you want
comedy,
white people.
You got comedy.
You want Ryan Gosling?
You want
You
Ryan
want Ryan
Gosling.
Gosling? You got it. You want Emma Stone? You got it.
I do
Alright.
want Emma Stone.
I do want Emma Stone. I do.
Did you get it?
You want a
You just
musical?
ripped their
You got it. You want John Lennon? Legend.
Yeah, they actually brought
John
John Lennon
Lennon?
back for this movie.
What do you think about yesterday?
You want-
I heard it was awful. That's all I heard. Or really, really not awful, but like I don't know.
They bring John
Kinda-
Lennon back to life in yesterday.
That's true. This is true.
I would like
actually?
to say,
Uh.
defending, I don't know, not defending Moonlight. I don't think I'm in a position to do that. But if someone has seen La La Land and they haven't seen Moonlight, being one of those people, from what I have seen of Moonlight and from what I know about the film, I could completely understand it being a better film. I think La La Land just does a lot of cool things, and it's the first, I'd say, like, in a while, kind of like a... I don't know, it's one of the only musicals, right, that gained that much attention or praise, I think, right? Correct me if I'm wrong, but what's really competing with it from this current period or prior to it?
Musicals? I mean, you're right. There's obviously, in history, there's Sound of Music and Grease and all that, but
Yeah,
I
I
guess
feel
that
like it is
is-
almost one of those films where it, like, it's not, something that not talking about like an animated movie or anything, but I don't know. It's an original story that's pretty grounded in reality in terms of the plot, and I think it's in the same tier as Sound of Music in terms that, it kind of breathes life back into the genre. And I think it's going to be recognized in the same light as something like that. One of those things that like people go back and watch and recognize as one of the best musicals in cinematic history.
I concur with that. It's like a big spectacle, and you don't get that very often. It's like, and the way it's choreographed, it's very reminiscent of like those golden age Hollywood movies, and it's very enjoyable to watch, and it's definitely something that's going to hold up for years, and it'll be held to that same degree as Sound of Music and West Side Story and everything else. So yeah, definitely.
It's a love letter to old Hollywood, and I think it does a great job of. I mean, some people, they want newer and more exciting things, and I from what I've seen of Moonlight, I believe that it's a more modern story, but I love a good throwback, and I think it reminds me a lot of like Singing in the Rain and different older Hollywood musicals, and that's what I love about it so much, is that it tells those kind of stories in a modern setting, and I think that's super interesting.
Absolutely. Yeah, I think there's a lot of aspects of the movie that pay homage not only to like older Hollywood movies or musicals, but just like I'd say the general atmosphere, of Hollywood. A lot of the story elements play to a lot of like common themes, of the struggling actor.
Yeah.
Someone trying to start a jazz club in this instance. I don't know.
Between the dancing and the music aspects, it definitely sweeps you while you watch it. And also the visuals are very distinguished, I would say.
Yeah. And I would probably agree with all that for sure. I think the thing for me just with Moonlight is that it's just, it's it's obviously a modern story, but it almost feels like an epic journey, but in a different way, in the sense that you see these distinct like 3 chapters in, this man's life. And it's obviously, we have a lot of coming of age stories, especially in the last, decade of Hollywood, but this is like the epitome of that, I just feel like. And it also has its own style, and it's just hard to compare those two, actually, now that I think about it, in the sense of what you guys are talking about.
Yeah, from what I know, it really seems like Moonlight and La La Land are both extremely good for different reasons, and it does seem difficult to directly compare one another.
Yeah, now that I'm actually having to do it, I'm realizing that.
Was this like an initial idea? Because I heard you mention this comparison in a previous episode. Was this whose idea was it? I feel like, to be fair, I haven't seen La La Land, but from what I know, I feel like they're just completely different genres. Like, I don't even see any similarities. Like, one's a musical, the other's just like a drama.
The comparison is just so common, I think, because, one almost won and the other did win.
Interesting,
and the whole thing, I guess. With it being said and then corrected, that probably upset some people who are fans of the movie.
I mean, if you look at the best pictures for 2017, they're just all completely different types of films. There's Arrival, Hacksaw Ridge, Fences, La La Land. It's all completely different. It's just
and that's the way it probably should be.
Yeah, of course. You don't want a bunch of the same movie up there, which is why I think it's interesting that I guess it's expected to compare them, because you have to choose out of all of them, right? But I don't think it necessarily means you have to compare them on the same standard for each one. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it kind of goes to show that because of the kind of mini debacle of one winning and then not winning, is that this question was even asked. This wasn't something I had written down for this. This is something that someone asked a question about, So it's interesting that it's still relevant and that people still want to know thoughts about the 2 movies and comparisons.
Understandably, both very, widely talked about movies. I'd say even in the mainstream.
Divisive.
And I think that also is one of the things I was mentioning, with like, we were talking about La La Land being one of the films that is going to go down in history, so to speak, in the same light as The Sound of Music. It had a lot of mainstream appeal, people that aren't very critical or enthusiastic about film or movies in particular. Me personally, at the time, I was not, that deep into watching a lot of movies and comparing them and analyzing the techniques and the stories and everything. And that movie was still like heavily praised by so many people. Just going, I had so many people come out of their way and talk to me about that movie that I've never heard those same people talk about other movies in such a high, in such a high form of praise. And people that I also would not expect to necessarily like musicals or anything like that in particular, So at the time, kind of like a widespread kind of like, I don't know, like a cultural phenomenon. That might be a bit exaggerated, but I think you know what I mean, generally.
I do. Yeah, the symbolism and the iconography of La La Land, definitely.
Yeah, and it had two really big actors that are pretty popular, so that has something to do with it, but...
Yeah, exactly. I can definitely see why that one went more mainstream, and rightfully so. Yeah.
Don't get me wrong, I have heard people talk very highly of Moonlight, but less so, I'd say, than La La Land, for people that don't really look too much into film, you know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure.
They're hard to compare because La La Land is just very boisterous. It's all about the noise, but Moonlight is a very subdued movie. But they both have such an impact that's why they're held to such high regard. So in their own respects, they deserve the place that they're at.
Yeah, because like Moonlight is just it's like like you said, deep, like sulking, like character study.
Yeah.
And La La Land is like the perfect. It's like a party. It's what Ben was saying. It's romance. It's all this stuff. So yes, should probably move on so that.
No, listen. All I gotta say is moonlighter, sunlighter, sure look good in the moonlighter. That's all.
I'd like to bounce back really quickly, if you don't mind, and be able to the topic of A24 movies. I'm not sure who introduced that, but
for sure.
I also, until recently, was not fully aware of everything that they had created. But going on this list here, not that I've seen all of these movies, but they're all things that I plan to watch very soon. From Uncut Gems, to mid '90s, Eighth Grade, Hereditary, which I have seen and really enjoyed. The Lighthouse. They've got. And Moonlight, we were just talking about.
Yes,
they do the Florida Project also.
Yep.
Yeah, so they actually have the majority of my current watch list and the most anticipated movies that I haven't watched yet, out of like any other single movie maker group or whatever you'd call them that I can think of ever. And all of those movies have also been the most talked about movies within our circle of people who talk about movies, the people that are on this podcast. So I think that's pretty amazing track record there.
Oh yeah, and just to note, the Florida Project is actually now on Netflix, so I'd highly recommend people watch that. It's pretty incredible. I'm not
sure if it's on Netflix in New Zealand, to be honest.
Oh yeah, I don't know about that.
It is very high on my list, though. I'm a huge Willem Dafoe fan, of course. How could you not be? But
yes, of course.
Oh, actually, very interesting. One of the movies I watched in 2019, kind of tying these two things in together, I had no idea it was made by A24. Not necessarily a great or astounding movie, in my opinion, but it was pretty fun. Life After Beth. I did not know they also made that. It's from 2014. It's what's the actress's name? I don't know if you guys have heard of that movie, but it's interesting.
Aubrey Plaza.
Yeah, it has Aubrey Plaza and.
Oh yeah, I remember when this came out with the weird.
Dane DeHaan.
Freaking Green Goblin ass.
That got critically shut down. So I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't think by any means it's near like my favorite movie that I watched last year or anywhere in like a top 10 or anything. But it was fun and it was pretty interesting. But they also made that. So
the guy from Amazing Spider-Man 2 is in this.
Yeah, Dane DeHaan.
Yeah.
Right. That's.
Yeah, I didn't know. I didn't put the two together. Yeah.
I wasn't sure. So.
I need your blood.
Spider-Man.
Oh, we want to have the Spider-Man discussion? We want to have the Spider-Man
discussion. You, Ben.
Yeah.
Are we really going to do this right now?
I said it.
Okay, well, how about can we let others speak first before you and I get into it?
Okay.
Can I just present the topic and then...
Yeah, sure.
Thank you. Okay, so what does everyone think of the new Spider-Man?
We go.
The MCU Spider-Man movies. What are the thoughts?
I'll be honest. I have not been keeping up with the MCU.
Good for you.
I think the most recent installment in the series I saw was Ant-Man 2. Because I watched the first one in theaters, and I was a big fan. And the second one, it came to Netflix in America probably like nearly a year ago, I want to say, right? Because I was back home in Florida, and it was so bad. I really just stopped watching movies from that entire genre. I think it pretty much encompasses its own genre at this point. Yeah, it was just terrible. So I haven't seen any of the new Spider-Man movies.
That is really interesting. Any other thoughts? I mean, the latest one came out soon to be, it's like almost a year ago. And if anyone who listens to this knows that I think it's complete horse shit. But what do other people think? Manny,
was it the first one came out a year ago or the second one? The second one, right?
Yeah. The second one. I
just want to make sure I'm not losing my mind here. Okay. I think I just misheard you, but yeah, I didn't really enjoy the second one that much. I don't know. As like one of the bigger Spider-Man fans, in my opinion, definitely by far my favorite MCU character. Not necessarily specifically in the MCU, but
Marvel character.
My favorite character that they have the rights to, and my favorite Marvel character generally speaking. So
yes,
I was pretty disappointed with the second one, but. Yeah, I don't know. My favorite part of that movie was the Mysterio CGI, so that's not really a good sign when.
And even then it was like
CGI was the coolest part of the movie. I don't know.
Yeah. If anyone else want to really trying to clear the air here before Ben gets going.
I mean, I really enjoyed the first one, honestly.
I mean, if Ben likes High School Musical 2, the sequel thing, then he's gonna like Far From Home. That's all I'm saying.
Listen, Mark Henry.
Yeah?
Alright.
Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me that it's not just a reskin.
Tell me that it's not the Lizzie McGuire movie, dude.
Alright, it is very similar to the Lizzie McGuire movie, but why is that a bad thing, alright? If y'all are so tired, listen, if y'all are so tired of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, right, when they offer something up a little bit different, and you say, this isn't a superhero movie, I don't like it. Alright, let me finish.
Go ahead, go ahead.
Will you ever be satisfied, alright? I'm not saying it was a great film. I'm not saying that at all. I don't think it was great. I thought it was passing. I thought the first one was definitely better. I thought this one was worse than the first one. But by far, it is a better Spider-Man film than Spider-Man 3, which was an abomination. No.
You're
better
wrong.
than Spider-Man 3. It's better than The Amazing Spider-Man. It's better than The Amazing Spider-Man 2 with his dubstep ass electro. And I'm fucking tired of people shitting on this film for things that, might not be great about it, but by far are not worse
like
than
cinematography or writing.
Listen, if it was on Disney Channel, and they premiered it on there, I'd be like, that's great, good for them, But if I have to go to the cinema,
and let me tell you, Ben, I mean, no, sure, you can say that it's a passing movie. It's entertaining enough to sit in a theater and not want to blow your brains out. But it's not a Spider-Man movie. It's a total disrespect to the character. It's shitting on the character of Spider-Man, really. And
tell me how, Nabil. Tell me how, because
tell you how.
I don't know what you want Spider-Man to be, because they want Spider-Man to be this kind of different Marvel character who isn't just like this completely unflawed superhero like everyone else.
I don't want him.
Right?
That's the problem. The problem is that he is unflawed. He needs to be flawed. That's my problem.
What do you mean, Nabil? All right, you say, "Oh, he's going after a girl. He doesn't actually care about his Spider-Man duties." All right.
I never said that. Whoa, when did I say that? I never said that. First of all, that's not MJ. Okay, don't call her MJ. It's not Mary Jane Watson. All right, it's Michelle. And the emotional depth of that relationship is like, I mean, we keep going back to it, but it's like an episode of Hannah Montana. There's no build up. It doesn't make any sense going from one movie to the next. It's a total discharacterization of the two characters. And I mean, when you talk about him being like unflawed, I mean, in Spider-Man: Homecoming, you had this whole thing of, oh man, maybe I could be the next Iron Man. Should I be the next Iron Man? And then he goes at the end, like the last the third act of that movie, the only good act in my opinion. He's like, oh, maybe I don't have to be. I could be my own hero. And at the beginning of this movie, it just resets. It's just a reset. It's the same.
Absolutely incorrect. All right.
How so? How is it not a reset? How is it not?
It's not a reset. It's not him wanting to be Iron Man. It's him feeling. It's him feeling feelings for another human being. All right.
How so?
He lost someone. He lost someone who was like a father figure to him. Nabil. It's
so
upsetting.
Tony Stark should be his Uncle Ben?
In this franchise, yes, that's what they did, and I'm not saying it was the best decision, but they set that up in the first film, and then showed that in the second, that when that father figure leaves him, it fucking has an impact on him. All right.
I'd like to quickly introduce like a perspective or an argument that I think you both could meet in the middle ground on, and this is how I feel personally, is that the concept of what Ben just explained is not bad. It's not necessarily profound. It's not necessarily bringing something brand new to the character that we haven't seen before in the past, as you compared it to the Uncle Ben situation. But I think the reason it falls flat and it feels uninteresting and not very impactful is because of the way they handled the relationship between the two of them in the other MCU movies. I mean, the Avengers movies specifically. I don't know. I feel like
so you're saying
being so overfilled with characters.
That Tony Stark, not you, Darian, I'm talking to Ben now. You're saying that Tony Stark is supposed to be his new Uncle Ben, or that's the role he's playing in this franchise. Fine, I'm totally fine with that, 100%. But you're telling me in that sense, you're saying that okay. So the thing with Uncle Ben is like his death. Great power gives great responsibility, whatever, right? How? What actions does Tony Stark have in this entire 21 movie franchise that is in any way inspiring to Peter Parker? Because that's a whole nother scenario.
What do you mean, Nabil? I mean, I don't know if you watched Infinity War. I don't know if you watched Infinity War or Endgame, but let's just talk about it, all right? Infinity War has one of the most impactful scenes of all time in a Marvel Cinematic Universe film. I mean, you can say it's not that impactful, but compared to the rest of the films, it definitely is. The most emotional impact, I would say, is when Spider-Man is fading away, and you see him as a character and as a teenager, he's accepting death. He's literally... Nabil, I'm saying... That builds the relationship between him and Tony Stark, alright? You see it further in Endgame. Tony Stark is still, in Endgame, is dealing with the effects of how Peter's death affected him, and eventually he sacrifices himself to save others, alright?
But why? They barely know each other. They're in 5 scenes together, max.
What are you talking about? Civil War! Alright,
that's one scene.
Several films.
That's scene 1.
War, an entire movie in Homecoming.
They didn't.
An entire
what? They don't spend an entire movie together.
That entire movie is about his relationship with Tony Stark.
Okay, Civil War, 1 scene, recruiting him. Okay, he leaves at the end of the airport battle. Okay, bye. Homecoming, beginning scene, ending scene. There's 3. Okay, Endgame. Wait, Infinity War? Okay, Infinity War.
It doesn't matter about the
I'd like to say we're not counting CGI scenes.
Yeah, and I'm not counting the scenes where Tony Stark wasn't there and he wasn't part of the green screen. I'm talking about when they were on set together, all right?
Yeah, face to face as humans, not suited up as an animation.
I'm talking about the story, all right? I'm talking about the story, and the story of Homecoming was about his connection with Tony Stark, regardless of how many specific scenes they had together. The story was about
what does he have to offer? What lessons does he give?
What do you mean?
There's no moral compass.
All right.
Hear me out, all right? I want to differentiate before I say this also, that I think Ben is looking from the perspective of what the story is supposed to be and what it is. Canonically, what happened in this universe is that they had a relationship. They fought together. Tony Stark believed in this kid and gave him a chance to do something greater. And that should build a connection between these two people. But then there's the reality of what the viewer feels and the way that storyline was actually portrayed. And I feel like the biggest problem is, and why Nabil feels the way he does, is because they miss the mark in really hitting it home. it was written in a certain way, and they put the characters in positions where there should have been a deep connection built. And like I said, in terms of the universe, there was a connection between them. But when the viewer watches it, the relationship is portrayed as, just it's almost not portrayed enough. I think for the scope of all of those movies, it's like a background thing that's happening. And I think that specifically with, Infinity War, there is so much going on. And in Endgame, you talk about Tony Stark's reaction to his death. There's so much going on, and there's so many people that they have a couple scenes to really show Tony Stark dealing with this loss, or him and Spider-Man doing things together before Spider-Man turns to dust or whatever. And it just, when they do that, it's just very quick, and it doesn't feel very real. It's almost just like they're writing it in, it's happening, but there's not a lot of effort put into those scenes, in my opinion.
I want to appeal to Nabil's side real quick. Why he feels probably so strongly about this is that, and Darian's completely right, that they do so much with these films that when you look back at the older films, the original Spider-Mans, the reason they're so endearing is that their stories are so focused, I feel like. And that's why when you look at those, you can rewatch those and you can feel the story, you can feel the relationships, versus when you're saying Tony Stark and Spider-Man, it's like, it just feels very plain and it doesn't feel fleshed. So,
all right.
Yeah, I mean, those are good points. And
but
I think those are good points. But I would like to explain me any good relationship in Amazing Spider-Man 1 or 2, and I don't think you can explain a single good one.
Yes.
Yeah, you can respond.
First of all, let me say that I don't think that Amazing Spider-Man 2, specifically as that's the one you were mentioning earlier, and we've talked about this before, is a good movie. No, it's not a good movie. It's a bad movie. But you know what? It gets Spider-Man, the character, better than any of this MCU shit, okay? And the relationship between Peter Parker and Gwen Stacy, say anything else about you want, anything in that movie, but the relationship between those two and the portrayals done by Andrew Garfield and Emma Stone is more real, feels more real, and has more weight, emotional weight, than Peter and MJ or Peter and Tony in the MCU.
Yeah, and I'd like to add, not necessarily more real, because I don't think with a superhero movie or Spider-Man they're always going for a realistic tone. It can be comedic, it can be a bit exaggerated, but the big thing is that it actually felt impactful, and the effects that it had on him, when Gwen Stacy dies, they're more visible in the character, and they're actually like consistently portrayed in the script, I think, or the storyline, and the performances, all of that. I'm not defending The Amazing Spider-Man, either of those movies, not necessarily great movies, but I will agree with that specific point. And I think Gwen Stacy was a better love interest character than Michelle currently, Zendaya. Yeah. I don't know. I think there's just some problems going on where the tone of the movie is, maybe it's still being worked out for MCU Spider-Man, but it just feels too lighthearted, and that's not a problem. Again, that's not a problem, but it's to the point where when they try to make something serious happen, the rest of the movie hasn't really made anything consistently feel serious. So it's hard to believe.
It's like it doesn't feel earned, It's
just I don't care. When it happens, I don't care because they didn't build it up correctly.
Right.
That's the problem.
And kind of to add to that, like the thing about Spider-Man's character is like I feel like it should be centered on like his problems, because it shows that he can be like bigger than them, and inspires the reader in the comic books and the viewer in the movies to learn from that. And it just feels like this version of Peter Parker just doesn't have any problems, and even the minor ones he temporarily has are instantly fixed, and there's just no consequence, and we should be able to empathize with Peter, but we can't root for him because he's been handed everything. He's been handed his suit, and he's been handed all this shit. And whenever he's knocked down, he's pulled up by Tony Stark or Nick Fury or Happy, whatever his name is, or his friends, There's no great power and there's no responsibility.
There's no conclusion to the film because it always has to be tied to the next one, I feel like. There's too much going on that they need to bridge it with other films, and there's no concisiveness almost to just being Spider-Man. It has to be, okay, well, now there's going to be this, the Sinister Six, this whole thing at the end, and this might plug in, this might be part of the Venom movie, so he's going to be part of this and that. So it feels kind of muddled a little.
I agree, and I think when you look at, I'm not necessarily a big comic book reader, right? But from what I know, and from like a lot of videos that I've watched discussing comic book storylines from different superheroes. I feel like the problem is nowadays, at least with the movies, is it's always right at the end. Even if they do get to a point where it could be a concise ending, it's like they're always teasing the next one.
Right.
And I think it's okay to always be setting up things and connecting them, but you don't have to like shove it in the viewer's face. You know what I mean? I don't know. I think that you can throw in Easter eggs. You can throw in something at the end of the movie that's a tease, but like it doesn't directly have to be in an after credit scene where it's like, oh, well, there's the next thing. Like you know about it before the next movie even starts. You know, I think the next movie you reopen whatever it is. It's a surprise. I don't know.
It's totally respectable that they've been able to pull this off, this entire 30 movie universe, and it's really cool. But I feel like the shtick is getting kind of old. I think that with them. Yeah, and I think a big thing is if you look at and correct on this, but I'm pretty sure there were no after credit scenes in the Sam Raimi trilogy, right?
Oh no.
Yeah, and I think after credit scenes have become more common generally speaking. I'm not just saying specifically with Spider-Man or the MCU, but I think it shows that it's like, can't we get hyped and sell the sequel based on how good the first movie was alone, not just...
Exactly, and you mentioned the Raimi trilogy, and the thing with that is like, say what you want about Spider-Man 3, that's a whole nother discussion, but there's a build-up to the characters and their actions, There's a build-up to Harry turning on Peter in Spider-Man 3. If there's a build-up to all these like singular aspects, the love, the MJ and Peter whole saga thing. And I lost my train of thought, but that's what I'm trying to say.
Yeah, and I think that just talking about tone, because I feel like sometimes in these discussions, I'm not saying we are necessarily, but it's relevant to consider, some people will say that, me personally, I believe this, that there are too many like shoehorned in jokes, and specifically Far From Home at least, and the movie's tone just feels like kind of off, I think, personally. But, you'll have people defend it as, oh, it's Spider-Man, he's supposed to be funny. It's fine to have a non-serious superhero movie, especially with, the large wave we had of like grittier takes on superheroes. But like in Sam Raimi's movies, not necessarily considering Spider-Man 3 because there are questionable things in that movie, but like there are funny situations. The characters can be funny, but it's not like the characters themselves are part of the joke, if that makes sense.
The dialogue and writing doesn't turn for the sake of a joke, if that makes sense. And
it doesn't feel like things that shouldn't be happening in the story are happening just for the sake of the joke.
It's a lot more natural, definitely.
Yeah.
I think we should move to... I'm sorry, go ahead. I think we should move to... You go.
What you were saying is right, but also when it does mean to be comedic, it's campy in the right ways, in a way that feels authentic to Spider-Man. Anyway, go ahead.
I think we should move to the next question, because I feel like we can get Justin in this, and Nick we haven't heard from a while, too.
Sorry about that, guys. Ben, I'm sorry.
That's okay.
Oh, it's fine.
There's been a lot of noise around here, sorry.
Justin,
yes,
like I was saying earlier, I got a few questions from the Instagram audience, and one of these was, okay, I want to give you a good one that I think you'll be able to answer. In terms of things you might have seen.
Something you might be able to understand. Yes, I saw Fight Club a few years ago in my movie heyday. Actually, that might have been 9th grade, to be honest. So I'll try and answer this to the best of my abilities, but.
Well, it's just a general thing. They're just asking about our thoughts on Fight Club and if we think it's overrated.
Okay, all right. So in 9th grade, this is actually, side note, means nothing to the audience. I just thought you might find it interesting. This is when I first met Evan, and I didn't have any friends to talk about movies with at the time. And I met Evan, and of course, anybody that's an avid listener of Filmatic knows that Evan likes his movies. So it was a nice friendship, and I got into the groove of watching one new movie a night. What I really wanted to do was narrow down all of like the really big names in film that everybody's always talking about that I hadn't seen.
Right.
So I watched Fight Club, and I'll be honest, when I watched it, I didn't think it was overrated. I mean, I was like, wow, this is a really good movie, and I understand why everybody is talking about it and like telling people to watch it if they haven't. So in that regards, I don't think...
It's perfectly rated.
Right. Are you agreeing or summing up my
No, I'm totally agreeing with you. That's totally agreeing because it definitely had that big push. Well, I think that was 99, 98 it came out
99.
for this whole like that. Yeah, 99 was an interesting year because that was like Big Lebowski, Matrix, Fight Club. There were a lot of like very esoteric films coming out that kind of explored new topics that kind of uncomfortable or like they were very deviant. So I think it definitely deserves its role in that place of being so popular and iconic, and everyone quotes it all the time. So it's definitely deserved.
I mean, I am never one to speak out against Brad Pitt. I mean, come on. What bad can you say about the guy?
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's overrated. I think some people feel that, just based on what I've read and some reviews I've heard of, that people feel like it's too edgy, that it tries to be too edgy. But I mean, Fincher. I think that's kind of Fincher's style in some regards.
I think
I also think it was from a different time.
Yeah.
I mean, things back then, people
very true.
criticize them being too edgy. You know what I mean? I mean, I wasn't alive then and actively watching things as a mature person, but I feel like that's a pretty new thing. Like, people watch things and they're like, it's being too edgy. I feel like that's a pretty new thing in the past few years.
Absolutely.
Like, it's kind of like what I was talking about, how people were criticizing superhero movies for getting too gritty at some point. Like, I heard that pretty often, that things were getting too serious. I don't know.
I also think it applies... Or you can go ahead, sorry.
Oh, thank you. So courteous. I think that there are definitely, and obviously I don't think anybody's going to disagree, I don't think this is a monumental discovery, but I think it's safe to say that there's movies and topics about movies that are about certain topics that you just couldn't make today. And I'm not necessarily saying Fight Club is one. I think you could definitely make Fight Club in today's atmosphere, but it's definitely exactly what Darian was saying. Someone saying, oh, it's too edgy, being a recent complaint, absolutely true. And I also think it's a very, very lazy complaint. It's just like somebody that sees a popular movie, doesn't understand it, or just doesn't care about it, and just that manifests itself into disliking the movie, sort of resenting how much attention it's getting for how much they think it's worth. And I'm not saying I'm not guilty of that, because I am definitely when it comes to certain things, but I just think saying that about a movie is just so disrespectful, because if you say that, it's just so clear you know nothing about that movie and you don't know what you're talking about. And if you say it to other people that also don't know anything about the movie, it gives them a bad impression of it without giving the movie a fair chance to defend itself. You know what I mean?
I think a reason people form opinions a lot on movies is just based off kind of a fan base. You think about the people who would watch this kind of movie, and you're like, oh, that's for, this kind of crowd, or like the certain type of people that are always talking about it. When in reality, I mean, those people watching it are just, I don't know, they're not even the whole picture, They're just, unfortunately, I guess you could say, a negative reflection, like the stereotypes of it. But you should just go into a movie with an open mind, and I think you'll have a better experience that way.
Also, I feel like something people fail to recognize, not necessarily specific to movies, just any art form, I guess. When people criticize art, I understand it. It's always great for discussion and, sifting out the best to the top, things that we want to regard very highly. But people, I think, fail to recognize that an individual or a group of individuals had a very specific vision for that movie. And in most circumstances, this doesn't always happen, unfortunately, they have executed it the way they did for a very specific reason. And if something's like, too edgy or cringy, that's still their vision. And I don't think it makes it bad inherently because you don't like the stylistic choices or the tone of it. You know what I mean? It's one thing to not like the tone, but I don't think something being too edgy for one person or a group of people means the movie's bad. I don't think that should be I don't think it should take points off of the movie's value holistically. Yeah.
And it's also just the fact that this movie's been around so long and it has that precedence of being a cult film, and that's why it could be a turnoff, which it shouldn't be. But a lot of films like that have such a huge role in film history, and that's why you might avoid it or you might be attracted to it.
Yeah, and you get the same kind of rhetoric when you, like you said, cult movies like, Donnie Darko, Big Lebowski, and aging, and our current our current society and our outlook. So that's pretty poignant. That's a pretty good take. Next question.
I just wanted to say something about Fight Club before you ended. What are your thoughts on Meatloaf in Fight Club?
I mean,
Meatloaf is in Fight Club?
Yeah.
He's pretty funny, I guess. It's kind of sad.
I love with Meatloaf.
Have you seen Fight Club, Ben?
I have not seen Fight Club.
Oh, I would recommend it. For sure.
Yeah, no, I would like to watch it. It's one of those films where I'm like, yeah, I've been told to watch this like 20 times, but
Of course,
I just never get around to it.
That's me with Titanic, for sure.
I've never seen him in any other movies, though, so... I mean,
Meatloaf?
Yeah.
Meatloaf is great in Rocky Horror. You guys seen Rocky Horror?
The original?
No.
Yeah, the original.
Or are you talking about the NBC one from, like, last year?
Absolutely not. I'm talking about the original.
Was the one from last year actually, was it bad? I don't know anything about it.
I mean,
just out of curiosity.
It is what it is. It's like...
I think what makes the original so good is that it's like a cult classic, and it's very bad in a lot of ways, which makes it more interesting to watch. So I think the idea of a remake is kind of lost.
Yeah. And they always do it with like Grease and forget the other one they did, but they did like the Little Mermaid one, but they just feel so very.
I mean,
I don't know.
Grease also isn't a good movie originally. It's just fun because it's like a product of the time. There are so many strange things about the movie that just don't work, but it's fun, and that's how Rocky Horror is too. So when they recreate it, it's like nobody wants this.
Yeah, and I don't want to backtrack too much here. I don't want to get hung up on this, but about it just being fun, I think that's it does tie into the discussion of the Spider-Man movies, and the thing is sometimes you get lost in trying to make something too emotional with the newer ones. I get that it's funny, but overall the movies don't feel as fun anymore. I don't know. I think that is something that should be appreciated, not necessarily having a super deep story or packing in as much as you can. As long as the movie is enjoyable, that is something to be said in its own right.
Yeah. If we're wrapping up Fight Club, move on to the next question here. It's a pretty interesting one. Why don't modern movies utilize newer phones, smartphones?
Well, ask that question. That's a good question.
That is a
question
very good
comes
question.
to us from Sophia Martinez.
Interesting. Okay.
Believe it or not.
Why'd you laugh? Why did you
laugh?
Who laughed? She's recovering, isn't she?
It has nothing to do with coronavirus, I swear.
Okay, well, for the uninitiated, she did have coronavirus, but she no longer does, and that's great. I applaud her for not having coronavirus anymore. And
I went to a party at her house once.
Wow, way to flex on us.
Yeah, it was not really a party. It was mostly just like scum gang getting fucking wasted on the couch watching Family Guy. I left after like 5 minutes, to be honest.
That's pretty funny. Anyway, she came up with a few good questions, but this is one I thought it's pretty fun. Why don't modern movies utilize newer phones, smartphones, to be more specific?
That is very interesting. Oh.
No, you go ahead, Mike. What's your name? Merchant. Sug my nuts.
It's pronounced Sugmanets.
Oh, sorry.
Anyway, so in a lot of movies in like the late 1990s, early 2000s, I'm going to use the Bourne trilogy. I guess it's a quadrilogy if you're looking at just the Matt Damon films now. But anyway, they actually, like, in that time period, made a point of showing people using cell phones a lot, because it was like the big thing. Like, oh, he's like a former CIA agent, he has a cell phone. Like, he's gonna use this cell phone. It's like a flip phone. It's a big deal at the time. And now the fact that smartphones are essentially the microcosm of human knowledge condensed into a chip in your pocket, it seems pointless to include it in movies, That, at least that's my theory. Like, I don't know. I feel like technology had such a bigger role in films in the early 2000s. It was like on the rise as like the cool thing, But nowadays it's pretty much just ignored and looked over because it's so embedded into our everyday life. It feels unnecessary to comment on it,
Well,
I feel like directors... Or you can go, I'm sorry, Darian.
No, you can go ahead.
I was gonna say filmmakers might see it as too much of a crutch, of like a plot device to use, and I could see why they wouldn't want to include it, but also I do feel it is included in some films. I was just thinking of Uncut Gems. You see characters texting, you see that element of using a messaging some type of system, so it's definitely incorporated. But I don't feel like they want to emphasize the technology because it could also date the film in a way they don't want it to.
Mm-hmm.
True, very true. Actually, good point.
I wanted to make like kind of a extrapolating like from that observation that cell phones are not used that often or whatever. It might, I don't know, maybe this is just personal feelings coming in here, but I think it's interesting because everyone has a cell phone and everyone is on their phone for a lot of different reasons just due to the capability of the technology. But I'd make the argument that maybe they're not included because being on your phone really isn't that interesting, and there's not a lot of emotion or there's not a lot of substance to it a lot of the time. You know what I mean? It's kind of just become a thing that I don't think is necessarily extremely enjoyable or extremely impactful, and it's also just I think it's a fact that it's hard to convey emotion. Through somebody texting somebody. Obviously, in real life, you might have an emotional interaction, quote unquote, over text or messaging services. But in reality, it's kind of just the act of using your phone, I'd say, is almost the opposite of creating art. There's a lot of things about it that just feel very disconnected, and it's just I don't know. There's when you're trying to portray something emotional or moving or impactful or exciting, I don't think phones have anything to do with that. I get using it as like a plot device, because people are texting each other or something like that, communications for the characters. But
the only instances I can think of where technology is like front and center, this kind of technology is the Unfriended movies where they're like Skyping, and there's like one where the Harold Kumar guy is like trying to save his daughter, but it's all on the computer. But besides that, I can't think of it being utilized well or like front and center. So
is it a coincidence that those all look terrible?
I think it's also another example being like Black Mirror. That's a movie,
right.
Excuse me, a TV show about technology. I think it kind of reflects the general view of technology, at least amongst people who are making films and television and media, art. I think the general feeling towards cell phones is that they're not necessarily a great thing. Obviously, there's a lot of uses and they're very useful, but I don't think it's necessarily something people are. I don't know if that makes sense. I'm having a hard time coming up with the exact words I'm trying to think of, but the perception of cell phones isn't inherently positive. Like Black Mirror is kind of a reflection of technology kind of being a scary or negative thing that doesn't really. It kind of degrades human behavior. I think that's kind of a message from the show, or it's inherently dangerous or risky to the way we live. And I think I don't know. It's just they're not present. I think for a reason, and it's just because it's uninteresting to use a phone for the most part.
Yeah, another one that comes to mind. It's also a TV series, but the first thing I can think of when we talk about this is Breaking Bad, and it's very often that people are using burner phones, specifically flip phones. It's supposed to take place in 2008. Even as the seasons progress, and they're constantly like just breaking them in half so that they can't be traced. And that goes back to what Manny said about how it's dating. And it's cool that we were able to talk about that aspect as well as what Darian started to get into about technology as a message of the film or the piece, the series in that case. And yeah, so that's cool.
Something interesting I heard about. I was watching this video where Ryan Johnson is talking about Knives Out, actually, and he's talking about how Apple has a thing where they will not let a filmmaker use an Apple device, an iPhone. It can't be used by the villain. So if you see someone using an Apple device, you know that they're not the villain, and because Apple will not allow that. I thought that was pretty interesting. And
That is.
he says in the video, he talks about how it's kind of a giveaway for movies like Knives Out, because if they need a character to be using a phone, the good people will use iPhones and the bad people will most likely be an Android.
You could just have no one use an iPhone.
That is true. That is very true.
Yeah, I think the scene he was specifically talking about required use of a smartphone, and he was just worried about that clause that Apple told him about, that they couldn't be used for certain roles. So I guess when it comes to that, it gets pretty tricky. Yeah,
Just
that is
use an
actually really
Android.
So when's the sponsors coming in the bill?
Anyway, this
True.
show is sponsored by Nokia. So we're good.
If you get an Apple sponsorship, I'm gonna stop watching.
If I get an
Or I guess
Apple
listening.
dude, I'd be lucky to get an Audible sponsorship. So that was really good,
bro.
Harry Shavers. So that was a really good question from Sophia.
Thank you, Sophia.
Thanks, Sophia. That's a really good one. This next question comes to us from Peter Giannone. I don't know if anyone
Ooh, my man.
He says, "What was the most racist movie of this generation?"
Interesting.
Frozen
He didn't
2.
elaborate, because as soon as he sent that, he just left the live stream. So I
Most
didn't get a
racist.
chance
Wow.
to make it elaborate.
Of what time period of the year of the century?
Of our generation.
Well,
I
mean,
I don't even know where to begin.
racist, like purposely racist, or like.
That's what I was going to say. I was going to ask him, and then he was gone. So
What does Peter want?
Something I thought was pretty funny was in La La Land.
Yes.
They're like John Legend, a black man, is ruining jazz music, and Ryan Gosling, a white man, is the savior of jazz music, and he will save it to be pure and what jazz is supposed to be. But John Legend, no.
All right.
That's a little.
Hold on, PC Ben. I think that there is nothing inherently racist about that. It just so happens that the male lead is white, which could be racist, yeah, because he's not a black male lead, and that's not as common. Whatever, we can talk about that for hours. I think it's more so just they wanted to use a popular artist who uses jazz elements, who happens to be black, and I think it's more so a message on, like, keeping things the way they were versus changing them. I don't know. I don't think there's that much thought put into it.
I don't
Making
think
a joke.
yeah. I just thought it was pretty funny.
We should narrow it to like a kids movie that could be racist.
That's fair.
racist kids movie?
Like they could be not on purpose, but like
Nabil will be like Spider-Man Far From Home.
Okay.
Yeah, you don't like
I'm not
Zendaya? Nabil, why don't you like Zendaya?
I'm not going to dignify that with
Why
a
don't you
response.
like Zendaya as MJ? I wonder.
I'm not
Alright,
going
I
to
wonder.
dignify that with a response.
Here's
I definitely
one.
feel
Here's
like-
one.
yeah.
Sorry, it's not a kids movie, but I just thought of it. The movie Pootie Tang. Have any of you heard or seen of it?
No.
So it's I can't remember the name of the genre.
Nudie.
No. It's not blaxploitation, but it's like new blaxploitation.
Okay. I
Right?
was looking at it. Yeah, like
The
that
thing
wave
is-
of films. Yeah.
Yeah, it's like like under the same wave as like Undercover Brother and like I don't know. Here's the thing. White Chicks, exactly. It's like about this black guy who's like a hero, but he speaks this like literally unintelligible language, which I guess is supposed to be like Ebonics or something, and it's supposed to be funny. And I remember watching it as a kid, and I thought it was funny. But looking back on it, it was directed by Louis C.K. Does that inherently make the movie racist? That Louis C.K. had this black guy speaking a language that no one besides other black people can understand?
You guys ever watch Little Man?
No.
No, I started it, and it was maybe the worst movie I've ever seen. Is
Wow.
that too bold of a statement to say?
No, I mean, if it was that bad, it was that bad,
It was furiously bad.
Oh wait, that's
So, like,
like
Is Louis
Marlon
C.K. cool with the
Wayans.
brothers, or
what's that?
Huh?
Is Louis C.K. cool with the brothers? You know what I'm saying? Or is he like? Cause
I don't know.
I mean, I've seen some of his sets, and they're pretty. I can't really repeat it, but I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know. But what were we talking about?
Thanks, Peter Giannoni.
Yeah, Peter. Yeah, I think there's a lot of movies with like cultural appropriation, but I don't really like singular examples. You know, I mean, The Last Samurai. If anyone's ever seen that.
The Last Samurai is awesome. I do not believe in cultural appropriation. I don't know if you're going to have to censor this part out, but I don't think it's a real thing, because the whole point of culture is to be able to change and evolve over time by other people's influences. And obviously imperialism and like Christian and other religions having like, missions, like destroying cultures in Africa. Obviously that's different. But I'm saying people adopting and having their own influence and being influenced by other cultures isn't cultural appropriation. That just means you don't know the definition of culture.
Yeah, no, I'm just listing examples that people have brought up like online.
On a list of racism-related films, Zootopia is here. Can we talk about that, or I don't know?
Dude, Zootopia.
The way that they depicted sloths in that movie,
just fucked up.
It's messed up.
So is that your answer, Pete?
Yeah, Pete. Our answer is Zootopia. Hope that's what you were looking for.
I would like to take a quick, serious answer to Peter. I just don't think there's a lot of like blatantly racist movies recently that have come out. I just don't think it's possible. Yeah. I think the only arguments you could make for any movie are instances where, they portray this actor who is of a certain race stereotypically, or they make an actor of a specific race play a certain character. You know what I mean? I don't think any movies them entirely are solely racist, or like, you know what I mean? I don't know.
What's that Clint Eastwood movie where he's like a Vietnam veteran?
Gran Turismo?
Yeah,
that was our generation.
Gran Torino. Gran Turismo is a car from GTA 5.
Gran Torino. That movie came out in like the mid 2000s or something, and yeah, that one's fucked. All right.
Yeah, but isn't he supposed to be racist?
I'm thinking in the past 10 years.
Yeah.
Like what in a time period where we could have watched the movie, you know what I mean? Or something like that.
Well, I haven't seen it, but isn't the whole point that his character is supposed to be racist? Or is the movie genuinely racist?
I mean, I haven't seen it either, to be honest.
Well, the movies themselves can portray racist characters, but I don't think any movie has a racist message behind it.
Yeah, no one's gonna say Black Klansman was like. Man, Black Klansman was so racist, bro. Spike Lee is such a racist, bro.
It was reverse racism. It exclusively was.
Family Guy, the movie, is that a thing?
Did they make a movie?
I don't think so.
I think
they made the Star Wars movies, right?
What's the next question?
Yeah, can I move on to the next question, please?
This one's making me a little sick to my stomach.
So Sachin Pavaluri.
Okay.
He gives us
interesting crowd.
I really don't understand what happened. It was like a 10-minute. Anyway, okay, let's go with. He had a few. Let's do best rom-coms.
Dude, hands down. I have a few answers that I can't decide between. Right?
Have you guys ever seen Crazy Stupid Love?
Stupid Love is really good. That's a really good movie.
That's what I would say.
Oh, all right.
One of them.
Well, listen, I'm gonna go with La La Land.
Yeah, I was gonna mention that.
That's a rom-com musical, absolutely.
Shit. Of course he is.
Yeah, absolutely is. All right, Nabil.
I was talking to myself. Sorry. Okay, so we have La La Land. Manny mentions Crazy Stupid Love.
Friends with Benefits, bro. Justin Timberlake.
Or do you mean the other one?
The No Strings Attached.
No Strings Attached with Ashton Kutcher? No, I don't mean No Strings Attached.
They're both the same movie, Justin.
They're identical. It's so funny.
They came out the same year.
Jerry Maguire? Is that a rom-com? What?
It's listed as a rom-com, bro.
Isn't it like a sports comedy?
It says rom-com/sport.
Alright, that's stupid. We're not talking about Jerry Maguire.
I mean, it has one of the most iconic, romance lines.
Yeah.
Does
it?
You had me at hello, you complete me.
That's from that movie. I literally don't even remember that.
Yeah, it is.
Whatever, bro.
All right.
I don't know.
Nabil,
Who is he in
like-
love with in the movie?
What about Hitch? Anyone
Anyone
for
the
Hitch?
conversation. This isn't my own view, Ben.
What?
Nothing.
What did you just call me?
I said Ben. When Harry met Sally.
Hitch.
What Harry met Sally, though?
Hitch is good, honestly.
I'll have what she's having.
All right, Nabil. That was enough time for everyone to laugh.
Yeah.
Ha ha ha.
Hoo hoo, ha ha, hee hee.
It ain't over till Ben Casey sings.
What about What Women Want, starring Mel Gibson, 2004, I think.
Dude, what a Mel Gibson. Thoughts?
Oh, it's just
Passion of the
2000,
Christ.
actually. Wow, okay, I was wrong. Have any of you seen it?
Nah,
No.
I don't go out of my way to watch rom-coms, unfortunately.
Wait, I thought you meant What Men Want from last year. That's a pretty good one too.
No, that's a sexist remake, actually.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's how you feel? Okay. Whatever.
No, I don't
okay.
actually feel like that. It's just a remake. I don't think either of them are probably good. The first one wasn't good. I can't imagine the remake is any better, to be honest.
I
It's
really like
about
Hidden
Mel
Figures.
Gibson. I don't know if you've seen it or know anything about it, rather, but it's like Mel Gibson's like the guy that's like, oh, any woman I want will fall in love with me. So he makes a bet with his coworkers that the new boss, who's this lady, she's some famous actress, I don't remember, but he makes a bet that he can make her fall in love. But she's like a strong, independent boss that actually won't fall in love with him. But he gets electrocuted in a bath while he's wearing women's clothing and suddenly gets the ability to read women's minds. So now he can actually read her mind and
What?
make her fall in love with him.
That's pretty cool, actually.
Genius.
It's pretty interesting.
Alright, I got some more rom-coms, alright?
Of course he does.
You would.
I think Frances Ha is considered a rom-com. How do we feel about Frances Ha?
Not
No
seen it.
idea.
You know, I started it, but I didn't
It's more
finish
a
it.
character study, maybe. But, yeah, I don't know. Maybe more just a character study.
What about
But it's a
Zookeeper?
pretty good film. I would recommend it.
Is that a rom-com?
Oh my
it's centered.
god.
The problem
JJ
with this topic, in my opinion, that is having giving me trouble coming up with an answer is I feel like there's a lot of comedies that have like romantic elements to them, but they're not like classified officially through these searches because I can't think of any off the top of my head.
Well, if
as a
Zookeeper is, I
rom-com.
don't.
You know, they're not.
Zookeeper is centered around,
Love.
Griffin
and-
finding romance, and
I thought it's centered around a talking gorilla.
Would
It's not
Shrek
centered
be
around that.
considered a rom-com?
I mean,
No,
Kinda.
I think that's an adventure.
No.
An adventure comedy, because the plot isn't him falling in love. The plot
Yeah,
is him
it's like
getting
a-
his swamp back.
Yeah, it's just a story that encompasses everything.
Yeah,
As
I think we
signified
might
by
want to
the-
save Shrek for a different podcast because that could take up a lot of time if you really want me to get into it.
No, I don't want to get into it. I'm just saying there's some romance in there. It's a
No, but
pretty
yeah, Darren
large
brings up
part
a
of the
good
story. True love. I mean,
True.
I think Shrek is
You could definitely say Shrek 2 is a rom-com. I would
Oh,
let you
yes.
make that argument.
Sure.
yeah, I would
Yes.
agree.
Shrek 2 is a rom-com. Absolutely.
Yeah, is it exclusive?
50 First Dates. Adam Sandler's got some
Oh,
rom-coms under his
true.
belt, right?
50 First Dates is a great movie.
50
I haven't
First
seen
Dates
it, but
is
I know it
so
exists.
good. 50
What
First
about
Dates is
Moon-
probably one of the only performances I'd say that he gave that could compete with Uncut Gems.
Just Go With It, Blended, 50
Just
First
Go With It was
Dates.
not funny in my opinion.
Blended
don't-
was.
Blended sucked, dude.
Eh,
Oh, Wedding
yeah.
Singer's good though.
I haven't
about
seen that
Myself
one. I've
and
been meaning
Irene?
to.
The Wedding Singer. I've never seen that. Oh my
That's like-
gosh. All right, hold up. I lied. Do we consider I Now Pronounce You Chuck and Larry a rom-com? Because if so, that is definitely the best one in my opinion. I don't even know if that was the question, but it's my favorite by far if we can do it.
I'd say that could count because he falls in love with Jessica Biel, right?
Yeah, there's. I mean, I guess it's
Alba's
more
in that
just like a comedy. Well, I don't know. If we're considering Zookeeper a rom-com, then we can consider that one a rom-com. We
Amen.
could also
Or we
consider nearly every Adam Sandler movie a rom-com.
Yeah, I was gonna say.
That's my
It's not
boy.
Funny People. I would not consider that a rom-com.
Not Big Daddy.
And not The Cobbler, I don't think.
Don't mess with the Zohan.
You don't mess with the Zohan.
Yeah, true.
Paul Blart Mall Cop. Okay, that's not him. Oh, Pixels.
Has anybody
Not
seen
really.
Me, Myself, and Irene?
Yes, that movie is so funny, dude.
Yeah, I don't know. I
It's
don't
been
really
so
remember that
long.
much.
If
Yeah.
every Adam Sandler movie is a rom-com, do we consider Click a rom-com?
Honestly, not really. No.
Maybe.
Unfortunately, otherwise that would be my choice.
Click is a very good movie, though. I think people are way too quick to dismiss Adam Sandler because he does have some impressively bad movies.
Okay. But this is a perfect segue then. We were talking about the rom-coms, but Sachin had another question. Will Ferrell or Adam Sandler?
That's tough. Oh,
if this was middle school for me, hands down would have said Will Ferrell. But
yeah,
I'm definitely going to have to reconsider, and by reconsider I mean absolutely say Adam Sandler.
I would agree.
I respect Will Ferrell, but personally, there's not even a debate. It's definitely Adam Sandler. But
yeah,
Will Ferrell has some good stuff.
He does. Anchorman was one of my favorite movies when I first saw it, but I don't know. I rewatched it recently, and it just feels so childish and not very funny to me.
That's the thing.
It's just me.
Someone tried to show me Step Brothers last year. Maybe it was in the senior line.
Yeah.
I thought it was Chris. I feel like.
Yeah, definitely probably was Chris. But I couldn't get 10 minutes into that.
That's what I'm saying.
I think Step Brothers is a great movie. I think it has some good comedy. I think there are some cringe aspects of it.
Yeah, you like Elf? You like Elf, don't you?
Do you guys not like Elf?
Elf isn't bad.
Elf is a great film. Great film.
Ben, I was seeing Holmes and Watson in
Elf
theaters
since I was 2 years old.
Yeah, I have not seen Elf in years.
And Watson in theaters? I don't know. All right,
dude, Holmes and Watson. Man, I watched 5 minutes of that.
I think the most recent Will Ferrell movie I saw was Daddy's Home. It was enjoyable for what it is. I mean, you got to know the context of what it is. It was pretty funny. I don't know. Will Ferrell's, he can carry some movies. But I think Adam Sandler has a much better track history overall, in my opinion, personally. And it's all subjective.
True.
Land of the Lost, I mean, come on.
That is good. I will admit, that might be one of my favorite Will Ferrell performances. That and, out of pure nostalgia, Anchorman.
Yeah. I feel like if Will Ferrell does a serious movie and he does it well, we can talk again.
Yeah, he needs his
exactly.
But he needs his... exactly, so...
But look, here's what I'm saying. Get Hard. Will Ferrell delivers such a powerhouse emotional performance, comparable to that of Adam Sandler in Punch Drunk Love. Wait, no, I'm actually thinking of... I was thinking of Adam Sandler in Punch Drunk Love, sorry.
Yeah, I don't think Get Hard was. I did see that. I don't remember.
It was not funny. I fell asleep, actually. I got it on Redbox. It was one of the first times and one of the only times I used Redbox, and it literally wasn't worth the $1 I paid for it.
Just to be like, I don't know what I'm talking about. Ah!
What, are you a huge Get Hard fan, Ben? Unironically, what was the point of that?
I'm not a Get Hard fan, I'm not.
What the fuck was the point of that statement?
Yeah, what was that, Ben? You know,
if you're not trying to defend Get Hard, why would you roast me for shitting on Get Hard?
Alright, what's the next Sachin question?
The final Sachin question is, what are some of the best horror movies to watch during the pandemic?
Oh, okay, this is a very good discussion topic.
Matt Damon, Pandemic.
Contagion, but okay.
Basic Spider-Man 2.
Yeah, true.
No.
Cut that out. Cut that out.
I don't even hear what you said.
All right.
On a serious note, there's a lot of really good horror movies that, I mean, I don't know what he's seen, but that we could recommend.
Lighthouse.
I don't even know if I want to classify that as horror, dude.
I mean, it definitely has horror elements, I feel like. It's definitely... I think it's definitely worth watching in time where you're in constrained quarters. You'll get that feeling.
Yeah, sure.
So. Yes, it definitely fits in this subset.
We can go back to Hereditary. That was a great movie.
What is it about?
That, but
you should watch it and be if you're in the mood for a horror movie.
It seems pretty weird, but not good weird. Just from what I've heard, I don't know. I've heard mixed things. I
remember it's a very good horror movie. It really just makes you uncomfortable, and it's a lot of different ways. Not you know what I mean? It's not overly reliant on horror tropes like jump scares. It's just I'm not saying it's a great film. I don't really know. I'd have to rewatch it, but there are just so many scenes where it's just. I watched a video recently. Forget who it was by, but it kind of discussed that there's different types of being scared, being afraid, and there's like the creepy stuff. It's things that just make you uncomfortable, and I think this movie has a lot of those. Not necessarily like outright terrifying things. While there are those elements to the movie, I don't know. I think it did a pretty good job.
I watched Nightmare on Elm Street the other day, and I remember it being really scary. But like, I feel like those films, they have their campiness and they're fun, but like, they're just, I don't know, it wasn't that scary.
Yeah.
Honestly, the only one that holds up to me is Texas Chainsaw.
Ooh.
But that's a good one.
Yeah.
But besides that, I don't know. Human Centipede.
Ooh, I have no interest in watching that. This looks disgusting.
Speaking of The Lighthouse, I don't know if anyone's seen The Witch. That was
I really want to.
Previous movie. I don't know if it's still on Netflix.
The Witcher?
The Witch. Oh, can we talk about The Witcher?
The Witcher on Netflix starring Superman?
Is that with, oh no, I'm sorry.
It's Henry Cavill.
Yeah, poor guy. Alright, go ahead.
Poor guy.
Yeah,
Have you seen how jacked this guy is?
I'm talking about his films. Yeah, he's a beautiful man for sure.
Gay?
Gay? Question mark?
You can't say that. This is one of the most homophobic podcasts I've been on now because of Ben Casey.
Yeah, solely because of Ben Casey. Oh, the irony. Oh, the irony. All right.
Has anyone seen A Quiet Place?
No.
Yeah.
I have not seen it.
I have no interest in seeing it, dude. It's a gimmick movie.
It is kind of a gimmick movie.
I respect John Krasinski. I agree with that. It seems like a gimmick movie, but
just like 1917.
I haven't seen it.
Him being in it is the gimmick. Literally, everybody's like, "Yo, it's the Office guy. It's the Office guy in a movie." Nobody remembers 14 Hours or whatever the Benghazi movie was called.
I think what happened is John Krasinski came back from doing the final episode of The Office, and he sat down. He's like, "Oh, I can finally play this game, The Last of Us," and that was his idea after he finished playing The Last of Us.
I think it's cool that he's writing his own shit and doing his own shit now.
Yeah, come on, Nabil, what the hell?
What, he didn't do his own shit for The Office? Are you telling me Jim was scripted?
At least he's not Kevin from The Office on Cameo.com. All right.
Did you see Kevin did a Bush's Baked Beans commercial on YouTube?
Jeez, that is.
It's unironically it's just distressing.
Yeah.
Can I just say, you're talking about horror movies. I've never actually seen, I don't think, a conventional horror movie before. Which
you mean conventional?
I mean, the closest I think I can say would probably be fucking, what is it called? Grandparents? What is it? The Visit by M. Night Shyamalan.
Yeah.
Grandparents.
I watched Rampage a couple nights ago. I would not call that a horror movie in the slightest.
Did you guys like Monster House?
Did you say Rampage with Dwayne The Rock Johnson?
Have you seen
That's what
Get
Ben
Out?
said. Yes, Get Out. Would you call that a horror movie?
Yeah, I think it's can be considered.
I would say, kind of like The Lighthouse. It's more of a psychological thriller. I wouldn't really classify either of them as a horror movie, but if you do, I guess I don't really have a problem.
I think that for the sake of this discussion, we can consider psychological thrillers as horror movies because they are intense and scary.
Okay. So yeah, Get Out was very good. I've only watched it the one time in theaters, but I've been looking for it. Like, I'm too lazy to torrent it, so I've been kind of looking for it on back when we were in the States, I say me and my brother. I've been trying to buy it on Blu-ray DVD, but I haven't found it. I'm just kind of too lazy to do anything else to watch it, but I do want to rewatch it.
It's $5 at Target, so...
Want to talk about horror? I just burnt some garlic bread. That's
Jesus Christ.
Us? Has anyone seen that?
Yeah, I saw that.
No.
It was kind of a letdown.
I need to watch it.
It's okay.
Coming off of Get Out, it's just like...
It was fun the first time, and then you think about it, and you're like, it was
Oh, yeah, I just have no interest in rewatching it.
The first critic review on it is Us is a massive letdown.
What did I say?
So, yeah. I mean, it's still... You should check it out, definitely.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, it's not
Yeah,
like...
I'm curious to see personally what I think of it. I don't know.
Yeah,
When
I
I
guess I
watch
would
a
still
horror
recommend it.
movie, I'm not trying to like necessarily criticize the story as much so as or like the technical aspects of the movie.
Oh,
I'm just trying to see if if it actually gets the emotion of like horror
not
portrayed
really.
well.
That's what I didn't really.
Yeah.
I didn't really feel it too much in that movie. Like, definitely there are some parts, but they try to throw in the comedic aspect a little too much that it doesn't feel
once you
kind of
get
balanced. So
That's what the problem with The Visit. And from what
Yeah.
it's actually a very interesting case with that movie. I personally didn't hate it as much as a lot of people did. It seems like relatively polarizing, honestly. But I don't know if you guys know this. It's pretty interesting. Evidently, they shot 3 different versions of the movie. One
The
being
Visit?
one being very serious and like traditionally like scary. One being just almost a straight up comedy where it's like there are horror elements to the story, but it's just funny. And then they shot the version which was released, which was like a strange mixture of the two, which ends up coming
Actually,
off as indecisive in its tone and just kind of weird. But I think
I
that
have
almost
heard
adds
that.
to how uncomfortable of it is. It's I don't know. I'm not saying it's good. I'm not saying it was a good choice in terms of making the movie, but it kind of does contribute to like this odd atmosphere that the movie has. Because it's definitely like it's supposed to be a horror movie, but then like weird things happen. Like there's just some scenes that they're not even supposed to be funny, but just the way they're done is just like you laugh, and it's like this isn't even supposed to be funny. It's just like kind of a scary scene. Like
Like the
not to
peekaboo
spoil
scene?
anything. Yeah, exactly. It's really interesting. Like I think that
Yeah.
was intentional by M. Night Shyamalan. I think he wanted to show something scary, but also just make it kind of like there's like it's like the uncanny valley. Before you get from
Right.
one to the other, there's some weird in between that's almost more uncomfortable.
I can agree with that for sure. They
Not
did
saying
a
it's a
good
great
job
movie,
making it
but
just gross. Just like I don't like the
yeah,
feeling I get from
it's kind
watching
of a
it.
freaky movie.
You guys ever
Yeah.
watch The Happening?
No, I
Yes,
really
yes,
want
I
to.
have.
That's a
Interesting.
funny movie. That's a funny one.
I watched it when I
Is
was
it?
young. And it was just kind of
Yeah. If you watch it now, though, you can. It's so offbeat,
Is it
unintentionally.
actually funny?
Because it's Mark Wahlberg, and the dialogue is so bad. Definitely, when you're younger, it's actually pretty creepy concept, but the execution, if you watch it now, it's kind of a good time. I felt pretty. It's
Okay.
fun. So
I'll take your
Yeah.
word for it, to be honest.
yeah.
I just remember the trailers of the people killing themselves when I was younger. It was very disturbing.
Oh
to me.
yeah, for sure. It was like the guy that gets run over by the lawnmower and stuff.
Oh
But
yeah.
if you watch it now,
Yo, spoiler,
oh,
unironic
sorry.
spoiler moment.
Also, there's the guy. I won't say anything. Just go watch it.
Yeah,
I
I don't know.
actually
I've always
will.
been a large fan of like horror movies, though. Like those were the movies that excited me that I sought out the most when I was younger. I mean, that might just be because kids like seeing things that they're not supposed to or like that are scary. But I don't know. I've always been drawn to being scared as a form of entertainment, haunted houses, things like that.
Darian, do you remember in 8th grade when you came over to my house and told me about the Crazies trailer that scared you because of the fucking Mad World song?
Well, yeah, no. So basically, that trailer and watching that movie when I was young freaked me out, and it kind of ruined that song for me because I associated it with like this, like it's just like something scary and fucked
Right,
up.
which is fair for sure.
Yeah.
Unfortunate because it's a good song.
I mean, the
little
song is
overplayed,
kind
but,
of depressing.
True.
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
Now it's taken on a new meaning.
So that's a pretty good cap on horror movies, I feel like.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so that was the last Sachin question. I only have one more question yet left, and it comes from James Kim, who...
Actually, I apologize, Nabil. Can we backtrack for one moment?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah, please.
I'm very sorry.
No, it's good.
Completely forgot to mention the platform. Because I don't know if I'd consider it a horror movie, but like it definitely is. I'd say from like an outside point of view, once you watch it, I think you realize that it's a little bit more of a thriller. There's more things being done than just it being a horror movie, something that's consumed solely to freak you out or scare you. But it definitely fits into the genre. It's a solid movie. It's definitely it has horror elements. Definitely a good thriller, and there's definitely a lot of interesting things that are discussed throughout the movie. And it's only an hour and a half, which might be encouraging to some people. and it's on Netflix. So
yeah, and it's a foreign film, right?
yeah, it's a Spanish film, but there is a dub, which, in case you're not aware, means you can watch it with English voice acting done over the film. But you can also watch it with subtitles, which is what a sub is considered.
Wubba lubba dub dub?
That's the way the news goes.
Yeah, but that's a really interesting concept, and it kind of ties into the next James Kim's question, which is one word: parasite.
Awesome.
Parasite, and it ties into the platform in the sense that it's about the social clashing, and it's a foreign film. So who has seen Parasite?
I unfortunately have not.
It's on Hulu, so it's there. But
yes, I'm going to watch it very soon, along with the Florida Project. So.
Oh, so
I have seen Parasite.
Okay, Ben.
Is Nick even in the call anymore?
Yes, he is.
It was unintelligible.
I understand.
Poor Nick. I guess there's not really much to say about Parasite without spoiling it. What do you think, Ben?
Yeah, it's a very interesting film. It's definitely one of my favorites of last year and one of my favorites of all time. The themes in it are very relevant today, and I think it does a great job of subtly portraying class conflict and, promoting that message of being aware, accepting other perspectives other than your own. I think it does that very well.
Yeah, and it also has, we were talking about it earlier with a different film, but the way that the genre turns at a certain point in the movie, kind of like a hard right, but it still encapsulates the previous energy, and it's kind of hard to explain, but really recommend everyone see it.
Wait, didn't you guys talk about this in the last podcast?
I just want to say real quick, it's awesome that there's actually someone listening to them. Does that make you happy, Nabil?
Thanks, Justin. Thank you.
Oh, really? I thought you guys were talking about the people that asked the questions. Yeah, I've been listening to all the ones. I got to make a little confession. I haven't finished the Uncut Gems one because it's like 3 hours long. But I think there's about an hour left in it for me. But yeah, any of the ones that I can actually watch without having to worry about pausing or skipping for the spoiler section or anything like that, I've definitely been watching. So I haven't seen the ones for the movies I haven't seen, but all the others, for sure.
Yeah. Thanks. I mean,
also, you don't have to finish that Uncut Gems one.
I will. I want to be able to say I have anyway.
For my sake.
Manny, literally. Did you get to the point where Manny left to go get fries?
Yes, of course. That part is so funny. And Zoom is singing, and Ben left his fucking mic on, dude. That's just iconic.
Yeah. Well, once it comes back, Manny gets his fries, but he's actually outside with his laptop sitting.
Oh no, I know. He started running from a sprinkler at some point.
Yeah, that was scary.
So Manny can go get fries, but if I cook garlic bread, all right, and the garlic bread burns, anything about you. I'm crazy, all right.
Yeah, frankly, Ben, no one cares about your garlic bread. Nowhere near as interesting as the fry storyline.
You know what?
No one cares about your birthday, Ben.
Bread. I cooked more garlic bread, and it was fucking great. All right, and I just
Ben, it's not your birthday anymore. Shut the fuck up.
All right, Nick.
Thank you for your single contribution to the podcast, Nick.
Yeah,
no problem.
Justin, wise men speak because they have something to say. Fools because they have to say something.
That's a very good aphorism, Nick. Who the fuck just blew their nose?
So,
did you just call me Nick?
No. What? I said that was a wise aphorism. Okay, can we please just move on to talking about The Rock?
Okay, what do you have to say about The Rock?
Yeah, Justin, the wisest man in this call, watched a Rampage the other day. Willingly.
Yeah, and guess what I watched last night? San Andreas. Guess what I'm watching tonight? Journey to Mysterious Island.
Yes.
I've actually seen that one.
Is it good? Those are all three the same director, which is why I'm watching them.
They were good when I was younger, but at this point I feel like The Rock is solely a joke.
Here's the thing. You people You people are doing to The Rock what you talk
people.
about. What do you mean, you people? Haha, yeah. Make a Tropic Thunder joke. I fucking dare you.
Okay.
Here's what I'm saying.
Whoa, holy shit.
What you guys are doing to The Rock is exactly what you scorn people for doing to Adam Sandler. Except The Rock hasn't made a good serious movie.
I don't scorn them for doing it. I get why they do it. I personally don't agree with them, but I understand why they're doing it.
I mean, it makes money in China, right? So that's something.
Baywatch, Skyscraper, Central Intelligence.
Look, Baywatch. Okay, I haven't seen Central Intelligence, and I'm watching Skyscraper in 3 nights. But Rampage, Baywatch, and San Andreas were pretty much the same movie, but it was still entertaining. I feel like it's just funny. It's easy to sit down and just fucking watch it and waste
Shut the fuck up.
Let me tell you something, right?
What do you even think you have merit to say, Ben?
Dwayne The Rock
What do I have merit to say?
Dwayne The Rock
What do you think you have merit to say? Because the answer to the first question is nothing.
Justin.
Yes.
The Rock needs to take his own advice and know his role because he was a much better wrestler than he ever will be as an actor. And I won't defend you enjoying his movies.
You won't defend me. I don't need your defense.
Jesus.
I don't ask for your defense either. I'm going to
go further with Darian's analogy, and The Rock needs to shut his mouth.
Yeah, right? We know what he's cooking.
We know what he's cooking, and he needs to shut his fucking mouth because
it's Chinese money.
He keeps making bullshit films, and I'm sick and tired of it, alright? He's the highest paid actor. I don't give a fuck, alright?
Fast and Furious? Fast and Furious, anyone?
A good film.
Okay, so a lot of things were just brought up. Someone said Tooth Fairy. Someone else said Fast and Furious.
No one said Tooth Fairy.
The game plan.
I said Tooth Fairy.
The game plan is a good movie.
Oh, sorry.
I will say that. The game plan is a good movie.
Scorpion King, Hercules.
Not because of The Rock.
Rampage was massive. Rampage was exciting, and most importantly, Rampage was about the connection between Dwayne The Rock Johnson and his gorilla George.
Oh my fucking god.
Holy shit.
What?
You know what, Justin? You actually just changed my mind about the entire movie and The Rock.
Exactly.
That's a really good point, Justin. I'm going to have to rewatch Rampage now. Oh, I mean, watch Rampage.
Did you ever watch it?
Now. No.
Yeah, no, I definitely did not watch Rampage more times than Parasite.
I have seen Skyscraper, and that was horrible. That felt like a watching
that seems like a stupid idea. I don't know.
Oh, it's terrible.
It's just
terrible.
Die Hard, but worse.
It feels like watching Chinese propaganda almost. It's insane how much Chinese.
I actually don't know what it's about. How does it relate to China?
It takes place in China in this like new city they're building, and they're like, I was about to do an accent, but thank God I didn't. They're like, oh yeah, we're gonna build the tallest building in the world, and it's gonna have multiple stories, and there's gonna be a zoo on it, and there's gonna be
multiple stories.
Yeah. And
that also reminds me of the Meg. That was also like a very Chinese central film.
Yeah.
I really don't want to watch the Meg. My brother says it's awesome, and he's also a huge Jason Statham, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's a huge Statham fan, and I can't blame him, but I really just have no interest in watching it. It looks awful, and it has such an unappealing name.
I heavily advise you against watching it.
Yeah, don't watch it. I saw it. It's
well, look.
Let me just say, time, Justin.
In my defense, I'm not here to recommend any of those Rock movies or to say they're good movies. I just wanted to say it was interesting, an entertaining experience, and I thought it might be a good conversation topic.
Do it.
Oh, can we please talk about the fucking Star Wars trilogy? The first and the prequels, to be honest.
And can we
save that for...
too?
I don't want to, frankly. If we're going to talk about Star Wars and new movies...
That's a whole
I did a whole episode on that, man.
Yeah, but I don't want to talk about the new ones. I don't care about the new ones, and I haven't seen the newest one. I'm just
lightsaber throw. Haha, funny.
Great contribution as always.
No problem anytime.
Wait, what was that a reference to exactly?
Star Wars, they have lightsabers in that movie.
No, right, but like when did they throw the lightsaber?
Fucking Luke, I don't know, number 8 when he fucking throws the lightsaber over his fucking back.
Oh yeah, that was good. That was good. I like that.
That was good.
What an epic scene, honestly. I really like what Disney's been doing.
Can we talk about the physiological and philosophical questions opened up in, I think it's the 8th installment, when Yoda proves that force projections can physically interact with real people? The Force Ghost.
Talks to that.
No, I know, but he literally hit Luke with his Force Ghost staff. His little cane. He hit Luke in the head with it.
I mean, it's fucking Star Wars, man. What do you expect? Like, what do you want there to be set rules for Force Ghosts? Or
what I'm saying is, if Force Ghost can do that, why? What is the point of even killing a Jedi if he could hypothetically just come back and still fight in a war?
It probably requires a lot more energy and power to do that as a ghost, Justin.
Clearly,
that's what the entire fucking 8th movie is about.
Yes, thank you, Ben. Actually, something that Ben and I agree on is this movie. But,
is it?
Yeah. We're both staunch.
The clock is right twice.
I thought the 8th movie was about like going to a casino and like powerful woman pilot in charge of the ship. That's like
fuck you.
Powerful women. Remember Endgame?
Yeah, remember that one scene?
Ben, are you defending that movie? The Star Wars? That is 8, right? With Rose, maybe the worst character in cinematic history.
I'm absolutely defending The Last Jedi, you fuck.
Okay. Okay, cool. Congratulations. Are you proud of that fact?
It's the second best Star Wars movie. I am proud of that, you motherfucker.
Yeah, it's in my top 5.
Yeah, Disney has really created a unique, insanely entertaining universe in Star Wars.
No, Rian Johnson created a great film.
Yeah.
And no one fucking appreciated it for what it was, alright? And then they whine and whine and whine about, oh, we're not getting anything original. And they're handed something that's very fucking original, very well done, alright?
That's an incorrect and subjective statement.
Ben, I think you're failing to recognize. I think you're failing to recognize my true stance is that I just am not invested in Star Wars at this point at all. I don't know.
I know you aren't. I know.
Star Trek, however.
I'm addressing Justin.
Disney has burnt out every fucking thing they own, and they're going to continue to until they can't make any money off of it at all, and it makes me sick. Mm-hmm.
Frozen 3?
I don't care. I don't care who made the movie, and if they made the movie, great. Disney is despicable.
True. I just don't understand why. Look, say what you will about. I don't know. I just don't think it's like a well-made movie. It just isn't entertaining to me.
Yeah, that's just wrong.
Okay, says Ben Casey.
How about
that is my opinion.
What is that supposed to mean, Justin? What is that supposed to
mean? I think you can translate it, Ben.
I don't know what everyone's points of view here are.
I can't hear you through the New
and I don't really have
lag,
one person.
Kiwi fuck.
Huh?
Is there actually lag? Be honest with me.
Not that much.
Yeah, you should actually just get off the podcast, Justin. It's kind of horrible.
Yeah, if you fucking left, I don't think anyone would mind. I don't.
Clearly, we need to move on. And
why don't we talk about something else? Like
that's what I was gonna say, Manny. Is that we need to talk about something fun. Last time we talked about funny things that happened to you in a movie theater. Does anyone have any funny movie theater stories?
Oh, yeah. Okay, so I was about to mention this during the horror movie segment. And actually, we can go back to that for a second. Sachin, if you're still watching or watching at all, the new Halloween might be worth checking out. I'm not really sure, though, because when I went to see it, I was unconscious the entire time. So that's a pretty funny movie for that story. Oh, you were? I don't remember, Nabil. I literally don't. So...
that was pretty exciting.
Yeah, I don't know if we need to go too much into
detail.
I
don't know if we can, but
between me and Ben Becker, I think we clogged 3 bathroom sinks in the mall and wasted however much money it cost to watch Halloween, which I heard was actually like pretty good, right?
It was decent.
I enjoyed the film. I enjoyed it a decent amount.
Yeah.
Better than like most of the Halloween and other like recycled franchises that have been out recently.
I think interestingly enough, Halloween I'd say is one of the singular franchises that like has continuously actually kept itself interesting and nuanced in a good way to some degree. You know what I mean? Like the Rob Zombie films at the time were like, I don't know what the standard was at that point, but I remember watching them as a kid and they were fucking scary, and I think they were pretty good. I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying Halloween is a great franchise, but I personally enjoy it, and I think they've kept it fresh.
I love the originals. I think some of them are... I have great experiences with the originals. I watched I remember I was 5 years old watching the first Halloween movie completely alone, left in my house without a babysitter, and I decided to go to the fridge and grab a cold hot dog, and I sat and watched that Halloween movie while eating a cold hot dog. It's one of my personal favorite movie experiences, and literally my first movie experience. So yeah, I cold hot dog Halloween.
I'm glad other people ate cold hot dogs as a child. I thought that was just me.
Well, Darren, I'm here for you. I was 5 and didn't know how to use a microwave. And
I
neglected. So
I was many different ages and just liked eating them cold.
I mean, it was an enjoyable experience. I'll be completely honest. I think part of the reason it stuck out was because it didn't taste bad.
Yeah, well, I mean,
They're
already
good.
They're already cooked. It's like eating cold pizza. There's literally no difference.
Oh, absolutely.
Oh, cold pizza is
cold
so
lasagna.
good.
Cold lasagna is fire.
You've officially gone too
Cold
far, buddy.
pizza. Cold
Yo,
mac and
speaking of
cheese.
lasagna,
I'm
interesting.
eating cold lasagna, cold mac and cheese today.
At the store here in New Zealand, they're running low on pasta, so the only dried pasta you can buy are spaghetti noodles and lasagna noodles. It's inconvenient because I'm more of a penne guy.
You fuck. You fuck.
Why do you hate me, Ben? I don't understand. Can I just say?
We'll grapple with.
Can I just say?
Minutes.
A good theater, a funny theater story. It's not a movie theater, but it is a theater that I watched something in. 5th grade, Ben Casey had a Halloween party, right? I was invited back when he liked me. I went to his house, and his family does this thing apparently. I don't know if they still do or if they ever did before this, but that one year they made a compilation master cut of their favorite scenes in horror movies. And I had never seen any horror movies before. I hadn't even seen anything close to a horror movie before. That actually kind of disturbed me that night. But I was very, very unacclimated to watching gory films. But he showed me on this. It was like his whole family and friends were like sitting in the living room, and I was on the floor watching this video, and it was like all the death scenes from the Final Destination movies. There was.
How did we forget Final Destination in the discussion?
True. There was a bunch of other scenes.
Entertaining horror movies.
It's pretty funny to see them die, honestly.
That was, as a kid, I was like, that was my favorite part of the compilation, because the rest was actually just, like, spooky. I was, like, getting frightened. But then the Final Destination, I was just like, holy shit, that lady was literally just impaled by a sailboat. That was kind of entertaining, you know?
Yeah. Final Destination is, like, a very interesting thing to study in terms of, like, morbid curiosity. Just the entire franchise capitalizes purely off of that.
Yeah.
And it somehow works. It still is entertaining. It is.
There's the one where they're at the tanning salon. Ooh, that's pretty nasty.
Yeah.
Oh.
Dude,
I haven't seen that one.
I watched that one when I was a kid, and it's the disc version, so they were just naked. That was pretty awesome.
That was pretty
What happened?
It exclusively was.
They just get baked alive. Oof.
Justin, maybe it was left out of the video you saw at my house, but I've seen it before, and you watch two women get in a dress and go into tanning beds, and then they're fried alive inside of the tanning. It's a little.
Essentially, what happens is one of them leaves a condensating drink. I think it might be a Slurpee or a soda from a gas station. One of those big ass cups.
Oh, and he remembers. I only remembered one thing from the scene.
It condensates enough so to drip down into like an outlet or something, and it fries the electrical components that regulate the tanning bed temperature. And then also, I think just completely separately, a shelf falls that on top of the tanning beds so that they can't push themselves like out open through the thing. And since the thing is fried, it just keeps getting hotter and hotter, and they burn alive.
Yeah, it sounds awful to have happen to you, of course.
They have boobs.
They do have boobs, though.
Here's a question. You can get cancer from tanning beds, right? Do you still need to put on sun lotion?
Yeah. My uncle and my dad used to own a tanning salon, actually, and they sell, like, tanning lotion that...
It sounds so bad for you. Like
during the bed and also get more tan. Yeah, no, it's not a good thing. It's not. I think the general consensus is that tanning beds are not good for you.
Fair enough. So, I don't know how we got there, but... I like
Would
it.
you guys like
to
hear a funny story that actually has to do with movie theater?
Yes.
I don't know particularly how funny it is, but I think I was in second grade. My orthodontist gave out free movie tickets to all of his patients.
Oh, okay.
And this is back when I lived in Inglewood. So, like, the biggest theater we had near us was Frank's Theaters. And he was an orthodontist. He was an orthodontist in Inglewood. So that's, of course, where the tickets were for. And there was different options. For the kids, there was Madagascar 2, which was just in theaters. And for, I think, maybe, I might be wrong. And, of course, if there's any freaks out there that are absolute fanatics of this show and know that this is an incorrect statement somehow, please correct me in person. But I'm pretty sure the adult option was Casino Royale or maybe Quantum Solace. I'm not sure, to be honest. I'm
it would
pretty
have been
sure.
Casino.
Yeah, probably Casino.
2008.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm pretty sure that was the
Wait,
adult
no,
option.
no. Casino Royale was 2006, so it would have been Quantum.
What? Oh.
Let's Google.
Okay, yeah, I'm looking it up right now. Quantum Solace is 2008, so I think it was Quantum Solace. Anyway, that was showing,
Yes.
and I, of course, went to Madagascar 2, and the theater was so full I had to sit on the floor to watch this movie. Everybody, there was literally like dozens of people like crammed into this theater watching Madagascar 2, and it was so good. I remember loving it so much, and I still do. I think it's better than the first one, to be honest. I haven't seen the third one, but I think it was just so funny in theaters. I was like sitting there on the floor watching Madagascar 2 when Moto like is coming out of the water and he like pushes the rock out of the way and he steps on those little dikers or whatever they are, antelopes or something.
What? What did you just call them?
Diker?
Are you serious, Justin? Did you really just say that?
Are you really that ignorant that you don't know the African antelope species known as the diker? Actually, it's probably a genus, isn't it? Because I think there's different ones. I think it's a bay diker that was portrayed in the movie.
Alright, Justin. Alright, try again.
Oh no, maybe it wasn't, because those are kind of darker in color. Okay, clearly you haven't been on the tram ride at Lowry Park Zoo where they explain that diker means diver in fucking Afrikaans or some shit. I don't know. Dutch. It's Dutch. Oh yeah, it is Afrikaans.
Yeah.
Fucking got him. And because Afrikaans is based on Dutch. Man, I'm maybe the smartest person on the planet. Check it out. I'll send the link to the chat. Nabil, you should link that in the podcast description.
In New Zealand.
Can you put Diker like natural sound effects in the background? That'd be like a nice touch.
Yeah, we'll have that going right now. Whoa, they sound so
Oh my god.
majestic.
Do they eat carrots? Wow.
I don't know.
Wow, it's really interesting.
Wow,
sounds.
listen to that.
I don't hear anything. I don't get what you're talking about. There's no sound.
And the joke's over.
As usual, the fun spoiled
By Ben Casey.
Mike Hunt.
My God.
Movie theater
you see
stories,
that?
this one's not necessarily funny, but I think something pretty cool that I've only experienced once is the new Godzilla. When that came out, I went to see it in the movie theaters. I don't know what you guys think about the movie. I personally enjoyed it. There's good suspense built by them not showing Godzilla at all until the end. But anyways, I guess there were a lot of like big Godzilla fans there or something. And like when Godzilla finally wins the final fight, like literally the entire theater was like at a standing ovation cheering for Godzilla. It was fucking insane. Didn't feel real.
That's actually insane.
Is this the
I've never
2016
witnessed something
Godzilla
like
or
that.
the...
Then what? The 2001 one where
Hold on,
Darian
there's a sequel to
It's
it.
1999.
Fuck.
No way that's 2001. I'm pretty sure that's
I did see
99.
that one as a child.
Oh, it's 98. Okay.
I saw the one that came out last year.
Darian saw it
I
when he
didn't-
was 3, Justin. What do you think? What do you think, Justin?
I didn't
You
see
retard.
Monsters.
I'm talking about the sequel to the 2016 Godzilla. Godzilla King of
2015.
Monsters. 2015, whatever. The
I
sequel
didn't
to that
see it,
one
alright?
is what I was referring to. He could have been talking about, because he said the new Godzilla. Why am I to expect it's not the newest one?
2014 actually.
Because he said the new
talking about the
Godzilla,
new
which
one,
would
King of
mean that...
Monsters.
Alright.
Okay,
The
we've been
what?
talking about God.
It's the part of the universe that they're creating.
Correct.
Godzilla
What did you
King
I
of
didn't
Monsters
see the
is...
2019 one.
Okay.
I saw Emoji.
Thanks for your opinion, Nabil. I agree.
Emoji movie? Did somebody say
What?
that?
So
I asked you what you thought.
What?
What'd you
Ben
say,
from the
Darian?
call, please.
Darian, what did you say?
I was just asking you what you thought about the Godzilla movie, but clearly Justin and Ben can't help themselves.
So Funny story, Darian. I actually did not see the first one, but I saw the newest one that came out last year.
I'm the
would you do that,
reverse.
Nabil?
I haven't seen the second. I heard it wasn't as good.
I don't know if it was as good, but it was just like it was passing enough that I could watch it, you know. But it's
Yeah, I
interesting
heard
that
the
they're
second
making.
one was best for like the fight scenes.
Yes, exactly. But it's interesting that they're
Seems cool.
making this universe with King Kong, the new King Kong movie.
Did you see that?
Yeah, I saw that. It was
I
pretty
liked
interesting.
that.
I liked it.
Skull Island. I watched Skull Island. I thought it was decent.
Yeah.
I feel like
Why'd you say it so hatefully, Ben?
I mean, because it wasn't great by any means. It was decent.
What were you
I
saying?
mean,
Nick?
yeah, I was just gonna say like I feel like a lot of movies are, or like a lot of or like I don't know how to put this, but like there's people are seeing a lot of value in like making stuff into franchises, just because of like what's been going on with Marvel. So like you know,
The extended universe type of thing cinematically.
yeah,
There's gonna be
exactly.
the whole MonsterVerse with the Mummy movie was supposed to be a thing.
Yeah, they're gonna do it's called the Dark Universe.
Can we talk about Tom Cruise's scream in the Mummy trailer?
I don't remember, but I remember hearing about that.
He repeats the same scream twice. Literally, the audio is copy and pasted twice in a row within like the time frame of like 2 seconds. They just play the same audio, and then he has this hilarious guy. Look, I don't even know.
All right, well, we're gonna play that right now. Okay, so that's the scream.
Wow,
It's pretty funny.
It is actually very funny.
Apparently, that's what you hear when you get entered into the Scientology Hall of Fame. Sorry.
Do you guys seen Tom Cruise's interview about that?
I seen him doing the weird praising shit for Hubbard, like that really weird video. I don't know. That's all I've seen.
I don't know if it's the same one. There's one where he's like talking about what it means to be a Scientologist, and they just completely unironically play the Mission Impossible theme in the background, just on loop for the entire interview. It's so bizarre, and it's just him talking about like, oh, being a Scientologist is very important because when I see somebody broke down on the side of the road and I pass, I know I'm the only one that can help them. So I have to help them.
Yeah, I saw that. That was pretty creepy. Tom Cruise. Anyone see the new Mission Impossible?
No.
It's pretty good. I
Is
enjoyed
that
it.
Ghost Protocol?
Yeah.
It was actually really entertaining. It's nice to see an action movie that kind of stands on its own. And,
Could you put in the thumbnail for this episode a picture of his middle tooth? You know what I'm talking about? He has a tooth that goes down the center of his face.
What?
Look it up.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
Middle tooth. Oh. Is that real?
Yeah, I don't know. I guess his teeth are, I don't know.
Poor guy. Oh, that is kind of weird. Thanks, Manny.
It's very bizarre. It's making me uncomfortable.
isn't it so strange?
Yeah, it is.
Did you know Nick Jonas has 3 front teeth?
What?
It just came up as a recommended thing for Tom Cruise middle tooth.
Holy shit. He has 3 front teeth.
It's freakish.
Oh my god.
Holy shit, dude, that is so weird.
It's a good thing that I'm cutting the silence in this podcast.
Good.
As I do with all of them. That is weird. Ooh, okay. Anyway, so we were talking about funny stories. That's a good one, Darian. The Godzilla one. It's pretty freaky.
I got a story.
Awesome. It was so hype, dude.
Yeah, for sure.
I really added something.
So I saw Emoji Movie in theaters because someone gave us a gift card, and I went to go see it in 3D, but the 3D wasn't working, and like it was all just parents on their phones. So I went to the person and I'm like, "Sir, the movie's playing and not working," and then they gave us free movie tickets to see another movie. So yeah.
What movie did you see with him?
I think I ended up seeing like Lego Batman or something like that. So not really an upgrade, but
Yeah,
oh, and Dan Smeltzer was there. That was funny.
that is funny. If you hadn't said that, I don't know if I've ever would have thought about him ever again.
And what's her name? The crackhead? No, not the. That's mean. I'm sorry. What's her name? Chloe.
I'm just not gonna comment on. I'm not gonna guess based on that description.
Zoe. Chloe.
Right.
Okay. Moving on.
Anyways,
Wow, that's really cool. Okay, here's a question. What is your favorite movie quote? Probably to wrap things up. Start with Manny.
Do or do not, there is no try.
That was
Darth
Anthony
Vader.
Angelastra's senior quote.
Oh, Manny.
Damn
Wow,
it! Damn it!
Wow, that was thrilling. That was just great.
Do or do not, there is no try.
Alright, anyway.
Ben,
La La Land. Go.
It's not La La Land. It's from Across the Universe.
Oh my god. It's just a Beatles lyric, and he's using it as a movie quote.
No, it is fucking
She's
not.
got a ticket to...
The quote is from
Here
the
comes
scene
the
where they're at a
sun.
dinner table. Alright, they're talking about, what are you going to do with your life? What are you going to do with your life? And someone says, it's not what you do that defines who you are. It's who you are that defines what you do.
I thought Batman said that. No? And Batman
it's not what I
Begins?
do that defines me. No, wait, what is it? It's not what I...
Actually,
Alright.
unironically, that's like...
Alright, I'll leave the podcast. I'll fucking leave. Alright.
Well, you'll get your chance. It's not who I am underneath, but what I do that defines me. That's good.
Alright, anyway.
That's a good one.
I'm gonna choose that one for me.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Anyway, Darian, what's your favorite movie quote?
This feels a bit like a cop-out, because it was my senior quote also, but it's definitely probably at least my second favorite movie quote, if there is one that I could think of that's above this. But from Baby Driver, Deborah, sometimes all I want is to head west on 20 in a car I can't afford with a plan I don't have. Just me, my music, and the road.
That's
Damn.
a great one.
That's a really good
That
quote.
is a good
yeah.
one.
Resonates with me personally, very, very on a very
Yeah.
deep level.
Sometimes I just want to go south on 75 in my own car.
Oh, Sarasota shout out.
So I don't know if I have a favorite movie quote. To be honest, I'm just gonna do the one that I thought of first, or it came top of my head first, whatever. Okay, anyway. So in the Evangelion movie, because I'm a fucking weeaboo, Misato says to Shinji, she says, "You hate yourself, don't you? That's why you hurt others. Deep down, you know you suffer more when you cause someone else pain than if you let yourself get hurt. But Shinji, that was your decision, so it makes it a valid choice. That's what you wanted. So that makes it worthwhile. Stop lying to yourself and realize that you do have options, and then accept the choices you've made."
It's pretty insane.
I think
Yeah.
it's pretty cool.
It's good.
I feel like there's a lot of good quotes in Evangelion most of
There's a lot of quotes in Evangelion.
Yeah. It seems like it would produce just a very good list.
Yeah. Movie quotes are really special sometimes, Can really encapsulate the situations that we're in. I want to thank everybody here for being part
Do
of
I
this.
not get to share a movie quote? What the fuck?
Oh,
Yeah, I'm. No,
Sorry,
let's not
sorry.
include Justin.
it's late.
No, it's
Okay?
okay.
It's late. All right, go ahead.
It's okay. I get it.
I'll cut
Yeah,
that
I
all
get
out.
it too.
It's okay. Go ahead.
No, don't cut it out. Let the fucking people know what you did.
Whoa! Holy shit!
Do you want to know my quote?
Yes, I would like to hear your quote.
I want you to beg for my quote, Nabil.
Say my name.
It's kind of a long one. Once upon a time, in a kingdom far, far away, the king and queen were blessed with a beautiful baby girl.
Do the voice.
And
Do the
throughout
voice.
the kingdom, everyone was happy, until night fell. Then it was revealed that their daughter was cursed with a frightful enchantment that took hold each and every night. Desperate, they sought the help of a fairy godmother.
Just tangled, right?
You want to finish my quote or not? They sought the help of a fairy godmother who had them lock the young princess away in a tower, there to await the kiss of the handsome Prince Charming. It was he who would chance the perilous journey through blistering cold, scorching desert, traveling for many days and nights, risking life and limb to reach the dragon's keep. For he was the bravest and most handsome in all the land, and it was destiny that his kiss would break the dreaded curse. He alone would climb to the highest room of the tallest tower to enter the princess' chambers, cross the room to her sleeping silhouette, draw back the gossamer curtains, and find... What? Princess Fiona? No, she's on her honeymoon. Honeymoon? With whom? And then cue actually play in the podcast Accidentally in Love by Counting Crows. And then that's the outro music. I just fucking blew you guys away, I promise.
That is a good outro. I think we should do that.
It's very good.
I'll consider it.
If I may, on
Yeah.
top of the Counting Crows right now. So as I'm sure you could guess, we actually cannot play Accidentally in Love by the Counting Crows due to copyright laws. And, yeah. Sorry about that. I want to say thank you to everybody. Thank you all for joining. I know we had our rough spots. I know there's some clashing views, but hey, that's what it's all about. I'm sorry for the quality drop-off in the last hour. You know, it's getting late out here. I think we're all getting a little tired. But I really appreciate everybody hopping on. Nice to do this, and a lot more to come in these weeks. A lot of time to fill. So who knows? Maybe in a few days we'll do another one. Maybe that's.
What about tomorrow?
I'm down.
Once a day.
We'll do one a day. So thank you, Manny. Thank you, Justin. Thank you, Darian. Thank you, Ben.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Nick. And thank you, Sam Raimi, for giving us the perfect Spider-Man movie. You've been listening to Filmatic. My name is Bill Sharif, and this is Accidentally in Love.
Beautiful.